I used to be in a band. The bass guitar player in that band told me this story. It's a really interesting story. And he said that one of his relatives was killed in a car wreck 10 years before he was telling me the story. Yeah? So 10 years prior to that time, his cousin was killed by a drunk driver in a car wreck. And his cousin was a good man. And he just got married. And the wife was really good too. Yeah, they were really a nice couple. They didn't drink alcohol. They didn't smoke anything. They didn't use drugs. They really lived a good life. They were considered themselves traditional. And they treated people with respect. And they were generous. And they were really a good couple. And the man had a job. And the wife, she was a nice lady. Yeah, people really liked to be in her presence because she was just had a wonderful energy about her. They were so in love with each other. And when the husband was driving home from work one time, and that's when his car was hit. He was going by this intersection. Here's a car came from the other direction and hit the driver's side head on. And the drunk driver was driving really fast. He was supposed to stop because the husband had the right of way. But the drunk driver just smashed into this guy, and the drunk driver wasn't wearing any seatbelt, so he got thrown from the wreck and got messed up pretty bad. But the husband died on impact. The wife was devastated. She was just in shock. When something like this happens and you just, it's like you go kind of crazy. You're in shock, you don't believe it, not denial, because you do see the body and you do know he's dead. But this is how she was. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do with herself. So she went to a medicine man and she asked him to bring her husband back. And the medicine man said, "That's not a good idea," he said. And she was pleading with him. She kept persisting. And then finally she said, if he doesn't do it, then she's going to commit suicide. She doesn't want to live anymore. So the medicine man said, okay, I'm going to show you. I think the only way you'll learn is that you need to see what's going to happen. So she was happy. He said, don't do anything. He said, stay with your relatives and I'm going to prepare a place for this to happen, and then I'll call for you. And you can bring your family if they want to come. So she said, okay. So he went with his helper, and usually a medicine man has an assistant, somebody to help him do things and prepare, stuff like that. So they went out into the countryside where there's no people, no civilization. And they got this area cleaned out, they flattened the grass, and then they went and got the family. They got this woman and they brought her there, and the medicine man started singing certain songs, because there's certain songs you have to sing to do this. And so as they were doing this, the medicine man's helper started bringing in dirt into the center of where they were all standing. They were standing in a circle. So the helper brought in all this dirt, this whole just wheelbarrows full of dirt. I brought it in, and then the medicine man stopped. Then he started shaping that dirt into the shape of a man. And then he picked up his drum and he started singing over that dirt. And then this dirt started to move by itself. There was no wind. It just started to move by itself. And slowly the husband started to appear from the dirt. This dirt was turning into skin. And pretty soon the husband was laying there, just looking straight up, blinking its eyes, and just looking up. And the wife was elated. Yeah, she was so happy. to see her husband. So she ran over and she put her arms around him and called his name. He just looked right through her. He's just laying there, so she tried to lift him up. And then when she realized it doesn't feel right, he just looked right through her. And then she realized something is really, really wrong. And she was like, this is not him. And she just dropped him, yeah. So his back just hit the ground. And his head just kind of moved around like lifeless. His eyes were open the whole time. And then the medicine man told her, said, this is your husband. And she said, what's wrong? He said, his soul is on its journey. He's not here, but that's his body. So she started to cry, and then she came out of shock. And then he let her cry, because sometimes we have to, and sometimes we can't cry because maybe we're already at peace with something, you know what I mean? But in this situation, this was such a tragedy that happened and just suddenly, yeah. So she was crying, and the medicine man let her cry for a few minutes, and then he spoke with her, and he said that, the only way the soul can come into a body is when a baby is born, and it's going to take its first breath. Then the soul goes into that baby. When the baby is inside the mother, there is a soul piece in the baby's body, but that soul piece is from the earth. It's not the baby's identity. It's the soul piece from the earth that helps this baby to live on the earth. But what's going to come in is a different soul piece. That's going to be the soul of the baby, the one that comes in. When the baby comes out of the mother and takes its first breath, that's when the baby soul enters and joins that earth piece. So that's the only way the soul can come back. So you can bring back the body, but the soul's not there. And look at this. It's just like a vegetable. This is not him. It's his body, but it's not really him, because his soul is on his journey. But he's still inside of you. All the things that you've done, all your experiences that you've had together, all of that is still in you. And that includes him. That's energy from him that's inside of you. So he's still there with you. And he can help you to heal. You can talk to him anytime. So she started to feel a little bit better. So I was thinking of that, yeah. And I was like, geez, we were traveling, yeah, this bass player and I, we were traveling because we used to play in a band together, and we were traveling at night, and he told me this story, and I was like, gee, quit talking like that at night, then. He scared me. Because something like, if I saw something like that, I think that scared the crap out of me. Anyway, when this medicine man said his soul's not there, it's on its journey, that's the part I'll explain. I'm just going to talk about the main points. I'm not going to go into detail because that's kind of sacred information. Yeah. But basically, what happens is that when a person dies, see, there's a soul piece there that drops back to the earth because it belongs to the earth. Okay? So then the other piece goes up to a certain star constellation. It arrives in this area that's located near a certain Lakota constellation. Okay? So no, not the zodiac, yeah, or not the Big Dipper, or Orion's belt or that kind of thing. No, no, no. We have our own constellations. So it goes into one of them, and there it leaves off another soul piece, okay? And that soul piece belongs to this part of the universe, okay? And then in that constellation, there's a passageway to another location far away in the universe. So when it goes there, see, it has to drop off that universe piece first. But see, the reason why it goes to this other side is because there are certain things inside the soul that need to all match at the same level. If they match, the soul journey is complete. The soul development is complete. But if it does not match, then the soul comes back to that constellation from that other side, and then it gets that universe piece again, the universe part, okay? And then it waits for a baby to be born. So now, on the earth, a woman conceives, and when she does, the earth gives a soul piece to that baby, even though you can't really see it. Maybe it's just several millimeters, but still, it in Lakota thought it's considered a baby because it has an earth piece inside. This piece of the earth soul is inside that baby, even though it's tiny. Then the baby forms. It forms a body. It has a soul piece from the earth. So that's two parts of the self. Yeah. Then it forms the mind. That's the third part of the self. And then emotions start to express. So now the four parts of the self are in that baby now. It's complete. It has four parts of the self. It has the soul piece from the earth, physical body, it has the mind, and the emotional self. Okay? Okay. This is why it's really important for mothers and all family members to talk to the baby while it's still in the mom's womb. So the baby hears the voices, and maybe it doesn't hear, but it feels the vibrations, the energy also. It picks up on that. And so the mom will sing to it, tell it stories, and talk to it, and say, I love you. I just saw this today on TV. My favorite actress, even, Jennifer Love Hewitt, was on the TV commercial here in Germany. And she's saying, I love you, and I don't really know you yet. She said, but I love you. And she's pregnant, yeah? And she's talking like that. And I said, that's so cool. That's our tradition, too, to do that. And so this way, the baby is already developing emotional bonds to the family before it's even going to be born. Lakota parenting begins before the baby is even born. So when the baby is born, it takes its first breath. Now, that soul that's in the constellation, remember, it has a universe piece now. That means it can travel in this part of the universe. So from that constellation location, those pieces come down and they enter the baby when it takes its first breath, and it joins with that earth soul piece. So it starts again. And it lives, and whatever happens to this child throughout its life, that helps the soul to develop until that person dies. Then the same thing happens again. It keeps doing this over and over. It's a cycle. That's why the circle is a sacred symbol in our culture. It keeps doing this until the journey is complete. But when a person dies, the friends of that person and the friends and family members of that deceased person have all the energy still inside of them from all the experiences that they've had with that person. So even though his body is dead and his soul is gone, his influence is still there in their hearts and their minds. Remember, you always consider both, never one over the other. They're both important, the heart and the mind. They're both equally important. That's really important to remember. So, it's sad, yeah, when somebody we love so much passes on. It is sad because there's something missing. That physical presence is not there anymore, and it's going to take time to get used to. But we still have the energy of that person in our memories and in our hearts. So we can always talk about them, and we can still talk to them because of this. So that's why I like it when people, instead of having long drawn out funerals where everybody wears black and balls their heads off, that people choose to have celebrations of life instead, because that's really what it is. Yeah? Where you celebrate their life, talk about some of the things they did, tell funny stories and good stories, and listen to music that person used to like, and it's there will still be an element of sadness. That's natural. But I think funerals, they overdo it, because funerals come from duality. So they really overdo it by displaying the dead body and he's not there or she's not there. That's just the body. In our culture, we didn't do that. We did other things, but we didn't just display the body like that. In our way, I might as well say that because I heard somebody ask the question. In our ancient way, what they would do is they would put a platform to put the body on this platform, and they usually put it on a hill. And they put the body up there, and they leave it up there for 4 days. And after that 4 days, they take the body down, and they go to a river, and usually there's a river bank that they do this to. On the river bank, they dig kind of like a small cave, and they put the body there. That's why today, along these rivers, people want to open resorts and stuff like that, and they want to have like boating and stuff like that, and their construction, digging up the ground around the river, and all of a sudden they find a bunch of skeletons, and that's the ancient burial site. That's how we used to do it anciently. Other tribes do things differently, but this was our Lakota way. So even among Lakota groups, though, they might differ a little bit too, but generally this is what we did. Because the body it's back to the earth now. Back to the earth. So it's going back to the earth, and the earth soul piece returns to the earth. And the mind and the emotions neutralize, and the rest of the soul is gone. So that's how it was considered in those days. So we didn't have these long drawn out funeral processions, and people mourn in their own way. Some people cry, some people don't. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no rule that says you must cry. Some people mourn in different ways. So that's how it used to be. Yeah, but because of that Christian brainwashing. Today, most Indians are Christian influenced, so today funerals are just like everybody else, just long drawn out. And the journey of the soul is cyclical. It's always coming back until its development is complete. So instead of being concerned about where is the soul at, that's not our concern. But what is our concern is the energy that we have from our experiences with that person. The memories, the good times, the difficult times, everything. That we still have. And that is medicine. And it's okay to talk like that, to talk about them, to talk to them in this manner. That's why that medicine man told that lady, the wife, that he's not there anymore. And what's there is his body, but there's no soul. Without the soul, you just have a piece of flesh. It's just there. But the danger is, since the soul is not in it, an unhealthy energy could come in. And that's where it really can get scary. Yeah? So there could be a movie on that, yeah? Many wicked. That's what I was telling my bass player friend when we were traveling. It's an all-night drive. It was kind of far away from where we were, so when we decided just to drive back because it was summertime, and so we were driving back, and he started telling me this story, and I was like, "Gee, man, don't tell me these kind of things when it's dark." And shit, that's why I was chuckling a little bit about an hour ago. Anyway, yeah, some of you out there maybe you needed to hear this. That's how come I'm saying this. I don't know, but for some reason I just thought of this story. Just out of the blue, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that story. Sometimes I think that when I think of things like this on the show, that maybe it's because somebody needed to hear that. So anyway, I really do enjoy doing this show for you and sharing information with you, and all I ask is that you think about it. Nothing more. I don't ask you to accept it. I don't ask you to believe it. As I said, with this soul journey being cyclical, meaning like a cycle, that, because I know when I say the word cyclical, some people are saying, what do you say, popsicle? I really miss that shit. They don't have popsicles here, man. Popsicles and ice cream sandwiches. Oh, I miss those things. Yeah, all junk food, but hey, so what? They taste good. I like it. I don't care. Anyway, because of the journey of the soul that I explained tonight, you can see why we do not have a word for goodbye in Lakota. So instead we say until next time, which is Toksha Ake. To read more about Lakota Star Knowledge Spirituality, you can read my book called Wichocha Otechike. You can see the book cover on the right side of this screen. This book contains the information to what I talk about on my Lakota spirituality videos. To purchase this book, please click below where it says Show More. Clicking on that link will open up the description below, and there you will see a link called To Purchase My Books. As you will see, it's an eBay link. Click on that eBay link, and there you will see the information to get this book. Lila Pilamayelo. Thank you very much.